Am I the a-hole for being upset with my son for finding a job without telling me? My son is 18. He is going to be attending community college and is living with me, my husband, and his two younger half-sisters. The other day, I found out that he found and accepted a job without telling me. I was upset with him about it, and the reason for that is that, first of all, he should have told me since we live in the same house. And also, and more importantly, now I'm left without someone to stay with the girls from 3 to 8, where my shift starts and ends. My son is usually the one to stay home with the girls, and his new job is during these hours, so one way or another we are impacted. He told me his friend found him this job and it just happened, but I don't think it did because he knew he had to give up staying with his sisters while at work. My husband travels most of the time, he's a pilot, and paid childcare is a no for me. My son said I shouldn't be surprised by him trying to work to save money to be able to pay for himself. But that is just absurd since he literally lives with us without having to pay for anything, except for his own entertainment. He said he needed a job, and he wasn't realistically going to stay and watch his sisters for days on end, especially if he doesn't get paid for it. We kept arguing and my husband got involved, and he too was upset saying that my son had no respect for us. My son basically had a like-it-or-not attitude with us, and kept refusing to discuss this with us, saying we have no right to be upset with him, and should just accept it. But I think that is being inconsiderate of my husband's and I struggle to provide for the family as a whole. This should mean something to him, but he acted selfishly. Edited to add, okay, it seems that I did not mention the reason why the babysitter option isn't ideal. It is because my daughters don't want a babysitter. They're both dealing with some issues and are uncomfortable being with a stranger at home. Besides that, my son decided to stay with them, and we didn't ask him or anything. Okay, some of you here are implying or suggesting that I'm making my son to be the girl's babysitter, but that is in fact not true. He doesn't do much for them, just stays home with them while he studies or plays video games. He adores his sisters and only stays with them when he wants to, otherwise we wouldn't force him. Also, my husband said the girls are too young for therapy, and I agree with him on that. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. He isn't free childcare. He has his own life he needs to live, and what he is doing is bettering himself for the future. You need a better plan than forcing your kid to babysit for no money. But I feed and house him. I am genuinely curious as to what her plan was if her son ended up having classes in that time period. As a student, I speak from experience when I say classes can be at odd times. I wouldn't even consider 3 to 8 to be odd times for college classes, especially at a community college that might have a lot of first shift workers / second shift students. Classes in the 3 to 6 range would often fill up first when I was in college, because professors would teach their higher level or degree specific classes earlier, and the gen eds in the afternoon. Mostly because we had a large teaching college, so we'd often be doing practicums at schools around the area in the mornings, and come back to campus in the afternoons, and we needed those classes not to interfere with school hours. So instead of getting a paying job for himself, you want him to work for you for free? You're the a-hole, and this should be cross-posted to r/choosing beggars, lol. You're the a-hole. The man is 18. He needs a job and he doesn't have any children. You have children. Stop relying on your son like he is your co-parent or partner. He is not. Exactly. He needs a job. Even if he doesn't need the money, the job economy is rough. And my friend recently graduated college with 2 degrees and has been struggling finding a job with his degrees. I couldn't imagine how much harder that would be on someone who has never had a job in general. OP, you're the a-hole. I've been working since 16. Job interviewers have often said they like seeing how much experience they have with working, as hiring someone who has 0 job experience can be a risk to them. It helps him gain independence as well because he's 18. Soon he won't be living with his parents. Rentals also like seeing job history. His siblings are not his kids. No reason to watch them unpaid. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for disrespecting my husband's wishes and refusing to let my kids call him dad? I, female 35, lost my late husband years ago, and I have 2 kids with him, 5 and 7. The kids struggled a lot from this tremendous loss, but they were lucky to meet my now husband and their stepdad Adam. Adam and I got married several months ago. He without a doubt loves my kids as his own. It even gave them adorable nicknames, and they did the same to him. They have several cute nicknames for him, which is what they usually call him by. But for the past couple of weeks, I started hearing first one of the kids call him Daddy, then both of them calling him Daddy. To be frank, I felt uncomfortable with it and didn't think it was the right thing to do. I don't want the kids to be confused. It accidentally replaced their biological dad, and Adam said he understood that. In fact, he said no pressure, but the kids decided to call him Daddy and he couldn't bring himself to correct them. I asked to try to do that and set limits so this won't go out of hand. Well, yesterday it happened again right before my eyes. One of the kids called Adam Daddy, and Adam didn't correct him or say anything. I got upset and couldn't help it. I waited till the kids were in the other room and started arguing with Adam about it. He acted confused and he said he couldn't do it, then tried to convince me to let it go as long as the kids are happy. I told him he doesn't get it because I'm trying to keep their deceased father's presence and title in their life, and as hard as it is now adding this confusion that comes with calling Adam Daddy. He said I was being irrational and that he's done nothing wrong, but I disagreed because we already had this conversation. Besides that, he was more than thrilled with the kids calling him cute nicknames, so why would he suddenly not want that now? I told him I'd handle this myself from now on out. Apparently, I pissed him off because he mumbled that I was being a bit much, then went upstairs. He's claiming that I'm disrespecting his wishes and keeping him at arm's length when it comes to his relationship with the kids, but all I ask for is time. You're the a-hole with as much compassion and sympathy as one can have while still rendering that verdict. Your kids can have more than one dad without replacing or forgetting their biological one. All you're doing by trying to police how they label their feelings about Adam is getting in the way of building a healthy relationship with a father figure who's here, and who they've embraced. Please get to therapy if you continue to struggle with how to navigate this, because I really think this is more about you and your grief than what's best for them. Agreed, but I'm holding off on too much compassion. Opie needs therapy, but she also needs to hold herself accountable for keeping her kids emotionally healthy. The kids want a dad, and they see Adam as dad because he is right there doing all the dad stuff. If Opie blocks them from building this bond, they will get so confused. All the kids at school have moms and dads. Why don't they? They will ask questions, and kids can struggle with how adults process emotions. Let them have their dad. Yes, but also Opie was mad that the Adam didn't correct the kids when calling him dad. But how is he going to do that without upsetting them? They're quite young, so even if he explained in the nicest possible way, they could feel upset about the conversation. You were being irrational. This shows your preference, so you should have been handling it yourself all along. It's possible for the kids to call their stepfather daddy and also know that their bio father died. Forcing your husband to say, "Don't call me daddy," is a poor substitute for you just talking to them about their deceased father. If the children choose to call their stepfather daddy, let them. You're the a-hole. This is spot on. Opie, the kids chose to call him dad. They chose. Imagine how they will feel if he says, "I'm not your dad. Stop calling me that." They will feel awful and unloved. They think of him as their dad and it turns around and stamps on their feelings. Don't make him do that. Don't make him damage the nice relationship he has going on with those kids. Leave it be. Soft, you're the a-hole. He's not making the kids call him dad. They're doing it on their own, which is a good thing because it means they like him and feel loved by him. I understand you not wanting the kids to forget their father, but they're 5 and 7, and chances are they aren't going to have any memories of him. However, they'll have you to tell them about him. And I don't think them calling your husband dad is going to make them forget that they had a dad who loved them and did not choose to leave them. They can have 2 dads and love them both. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my daughter's friend to sleep over because her mother didn't teach her boundaries? The title is quite confusing, but I can't figure out a better way to word it, so I'm just gonna do my best to explain. My 36 female daughter, 6 female, has a friend, 6 female, whose mother I have frequently had issues with. Mom B, 30s female, and her husband, male 30s, are what's yours is mine people and have taught their daughter that mindset. My daughter has a very fragile teddy that her granny gifted her when she was christened. I've mended this teddy 100 times, but it's still falling apart because my daughter carries it literally everywhere. She's super gentle with it. It has come up with her own rules that you have to follow to hold and play with a teddy. My daughter asked to have a play date / sleepover with her friend a few months ago. After talking to her parents, I agreed. Turns out the girls fought like cats and dogs over her teddy because the friend didn't want to follow the rules and didn't understand that if she can't follow them, she can't play. The friend threw my daughter's teddy and she called to come home early. Next day, I guess they sorted it and were friends once again. My daughter does not play with a teddy at school. She just puts him in her backpack, as far as I know, because she's scared other kids will hurt Teddy, and I'm pretty sure this is the only reason they're still friends. The girls have wanted to have sleepovers multiple times since, but after talking to her friend's mother and being told that if my daughter brings her teddy into Mom B's house, then Mom B's rules go, and my daughter will have to share whether her friend isn't careful or not. I've denied it. She suggested they sleep over at my house, but I've seen how her daughter acts at school / on a playground, picking up toys that aren't hers and just running off, fighting with other kids over their toys, etc. And I just don't think she would play with said teddy properly even under my roof. Am I the a-hole for this? I've talked to other parents in her class who had the same problem and just hid a toy, but I don't think my daughter should have to go without the teddy all night for someone else's behavior. Now for the comments. The girls have wanted to have sleepover multiple times since. If your daughter is also doing the asking here, then it's time for you to have a discussion with her about the teddy. Maybe she is willing to hide him for the night to ensure his safety? Not a haul for being concerned about a toy that has a lot of significance to your child, but you better start thinking about alternative solutions in general. Things happen by accident to special lovies, even in your own home or at school. And surely you don't want to have that cause a real breakdown or something. I've talked to her about the teddy before, basically saying that there'll be a time to leave him at home, which was when she came up with the rules. All her other friends have agreed to said rules, and I think maybe that's why she keeps asking. My husband told her we talked to friend's mom, so maybe she thinks the problem's fixed. Either way, another convo is in our future anyway. Thank you. What about sending your daughter to the sleepover without Teddy? Talk to her ahead of time about keeping Teddy at home so he's safe. Mild everyone sucks here. The other mom sucks for obvious reasons, and much more than you do. But you're also doing your kid a disservice by not showing her how to enforce her own boundaries and deal with the natural consequences. Asking her directly would make the most sense here. Does your daughter want to go on a sleepover? If she does she want to leave Teddy at home so that he doesn't get messed up? Ultimately, it was bound to happen that there would be a situation where it wasn't appropriate for her to bring Teddy, and learning how to cope with that is an important skill. In another comment, Opie mentions some of the rules around a teddy that require hand washing, and I'm just wondering if the daughter may be developing some unhealthy habits in regards to the teddy. Like, I completely understand the importance in her being a child that has an attachment, but at some point, the daughter is going to have to learn to separate from the bear, and I personally think that needs to be more of the focus here. Everyone sucks here for right now, though. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin and her husband they should consider stopping their IVF treatment? My female 28 female cousin Lauren, female 35, and her husband have been struggling with having kids and are suffering from health issues. They've begun IVF treatment, which is expensive where I live. So far, they've had several rounds, but no luck. They visited on my mom's birthday yesterday. We don't see each other much now, but mom tells me about how they're doing in general. We were conversing at dinner and the IVF got brought up. Lauren said she and her husband are about to undergo another round of IVF. Everyone at a table said a prayer and wished them luck. But I told Lauren that after spending this much money, and after having already gone through several rounds in addition to other factors contributing to their infertility issues, she should really consider stopping IVF and taking a break and also saving money. Lauren and her husband looked offended. Lauren then said that they aren't struggling with money, so it's okay. I explained that they may not be struggling now but will be in the future, saying they'd spent thousands and wasted money for no benefits while they could have financially helped some struggling family with kids. Lauren got quiet, but I stated that this was just my opinion after all. Lauren's husband looked at me grudgingly and said, I think you should just mind your own business and keep your opinion to yourself. From there, the argument ensued. I told him he was being disrespectful, and he kept talking back. Shortly after, he and Lauren left. Mom started asking me why I caused a scene on her birthday. I said we were just talking, but Lauren and her husband blew this way out of proportion. Mom said that I have zero say in anyone's reproductive choice and should have kept my mouth shut. My sister, who rarely agrees with me, sided with me saying I was good, but Mom is insisting I call Lauren and apologize to her. My husband too sided with me and told me to give it a few days and Lauren will call. I see Lauren as my sister and I respect her, but we have our moments. Am I the a-hole in this situation? You're the a-hole. Their reproductive choices are none of your business. I told him he was being disrespectful and he kept talking back. Ironic that you'd call him disrespectful and claim he's the one talking back. The fact that she can't see that she was disrespectful and the argument ensued literally because she answered back when he told her, quite correctly, to mind her own business is staggering. You're the a-hole, OP. It is none of your business. Also, this is not wasting money. They are trying to have a baby, and your absolute dismissive and hurtful comments are terrible. Now, if they were loaning money everywhere to get these treatments, and only if they ask you multiple times and you kept on saying no, then you have the right to say something about this. If not, shut up. And also, I can say my opinion because it's my opinion and I'm allowed to state my opinion, however de facto true that is. It's also making you a huge a-hole. You don't need to say your opinion because it's none of your freaking business. You're the a-hole. What they do with their money and their bodies is none of your business. And they could have financially helped some struggling family with kids. Are you helping a struggling family with kids? I'm petty, so if I was in that family, every time Opie mentioned spending money, I would throw that back in her face. Oh, you took a vacation? You could have helped a struggling family. New haircut? Shoes? Clothes? That money could have been used to help a struggling family. You're the a-hole. Let me guess. You're the struggling family with kids they should have helped instead. This is absolutely a mind-your-own-business situation. I've read too many of these posts, lol. It is like a solid 80-20 that whenever someone says that someone should have helped others, they're talking about themselves. Wouldn't be surprised if the cousin cuts her off completely. They don't need that toxicity in their life.